morning, governor. Top of the morning to you. Glad you made it. It's another So-So production. Welcome back, ladies and gents. It is, what day is today? It's Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022. That's a lot of deuces up in the space. Shout out to everybody. Thank you for joining me. If you've been with me for a long time, viewing, listening, supporting through Instagram, through YouTube, through Patreon, thank you for all the love and support. If you're just joining us today, thank you for the love and support. Welcome to the syndicate. Welcome to the gang. We're a worldwide conglomerate of people, like-minded, like-hearted, spirited people. And we're all it's a big collective. We're doing it collectively. Thank you very much for joining me, ladies and gents, boys and girls. It's going to be a loose day today, as per usual. What do we do around here again? Folks that have been with me, familiar with kind of the material that goes on up in this space between us. For those of you who just joined us today, we keep it loose. We talk about everything and nothing. And again, this is a very slow and steady burn. It's an ongoing process. It's a journey, basically. So thank you again. If you've been with me for a long time, thank you for being a part of my journey. Let me be a part of yours. And again, if you're just joining us today, follow me on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube for the full-length videos. Check out patreon.com/RobSadri if you'd like to support the show fiscally, give us a little bump. And that's what it is, baby. We come here Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, have a little chit-chat with the gang, have some laughs, discuss this, that, and the other, and we're all just following our dreams, chasing dreams, chasing passions, things that get us excited, things that get us motivated, things that get us going. And I'm there doing my thing. Hopefully I can be of assistance in some sort of way. I know you guys are a big part of my life. I know everybody out there, whoever, then that's the thing. Sometimes we're in contact via people in person. Sometimes it's through the interwebs. But this is all, I guess, we're all interconnected on so many different levels. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm very grateful and thankful. That's one of the things that I want to say before we get into, today I'm just, it's a good day today. It's a nice day today, yeah? It's a nice, lovely day, and I'm, very grateful, very thankful. But enough of the mushy stuff. Let's get into the fun stuff. Oh, man, I got mushy there for a second. That's just what it is that your boy feels feelings like many of you guys out there. Oh, boy. I'm just happy to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, this is it. We're floating in space, and I'm happy that we all get to share this little marble together and call it home. So that's what I'm trying to persuade out there. That's what I'm trying to put out there, essentially. I don't even know what I'm saying, dude. It's just feelings. Love you all. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being a part of my life. That's what I wanted to say. Let's get on with it. My God. Oh, man. Oh. Shout out to everybody, friends, family, loved ones. Good God. It's a beautiful day. It's a gorgeous day out there. Whatever you're doing today, shout out to you guys and gals. Oh, man. Today we're going to just talk about stuff that's life, man. Little stuff, big stuff, everything. I'm very grateful. I'll tell you one of the top 5 things that I'm grateful for. It belongs in the top 5 category for sure. It's food. Definitely, I'm just going to talk about one of my favorite little foods at the moment. And that's the thing. I regularly eat stuff that I'm kind of accustomed to. I got a little routine. I know I can whip up a couple of dishes that are to my liking, i.e. the pastas, i.e. the spaghetti, pizza. Those are my go-to dishes. But every now and again, and then I'm not talking about snacks and an apple a day, all that jazz. I'm not talking about dishes or a food or a lunch or a din-din. You know what I'm talking about? But oh man, I just spiced it up a little bit. Ladies and gents, if you've not tried this, try it. I'm sure many of you guys have tried it out there, but if you've not tried this, please try this because you're gonna love it. Get yourself, I want you to do this, fella. You can make it from scratch if you like, all of it from scratch, but you could just get some ingredients from the grocery store, do it that way as well. This is what I'm talking about. You could buy yourself everything bagels, right? Follow me on this. Everything bagels. Spread a little bit of cream cheese on that bagel, right? Toasted. Okay, toast that everything bagel. Spread a little bit of cream cheese. Get yourself some nice, thinly sliced smoked salmon. Cut that bad boy up. Put it on. Smush it together. Now you got yourself, what do you got? You got yourself a delicious everything bagel with cream cheese and smoked salmon or rake salmon, as long as it's thinly sliced and it's raw. I know, man, oh man, that is that's just like that's a mouth orgasm right there. You're like, that's not a mouth orgasm. Classic mouth orgasm consists of a wiener in a mouth or a VJ, in a mouth, and then some work. That's a mouth orgasm. Yes, technically speaking, the technical mouth orgasm would consist of some sort of, mouth to crotch work, let's just say, or relationship of sorts. That's basically like, yes, technically that is probably the medical definition of a mouth orgasm. This is also an oral orgasm for the taste buds, for the palate, for that little, for that face hole, for that you know northern orifice amongst the many northern orifices. That's what it is. So enjoy it is what I'm trying to tell you. If you've not tried it, I didn't know this. It got introduced to me, and I've been a fan for some time now. So every once in a while I'll do that, and it's just one of those things where it's just like, oh, it's like, because cream cheese is already delish, right? And then you add that slice of salmon. It's like, what is that? It's like, it melts. It's kind of like butter, but like not butter. It's fish, dude. It's not butter. It's fish. But man, big fan. So I'm very great. It's the little things and the big things that get me going and keep me appreciative of life, and just the little, yeah, it's the little things and the big things. That's one thing that I'm very appreciative of. Food, delicious food, and again, you can make it from scratch. You can go ahead and make your own bagel from scratch. You can start a little, you're like, man, what if I want to get that fish from scratch, son? What if I want that fresh fish? Then you gotta take a little bit of a detour. You got to take a little bit of a trip. Maybe if you've got a little son or daughter, you can take them along with you on a little fishing trip. Or maybe you're not there yet, like your boy, you don't have family, maybe you can go with some butts, put a couple of dudes and gals up in a truck, and then get yourself some fishing gear, some fishing rods, and go on to the river and just like fucking toss a couple of these, do a couple of these, and then fucking reel it in. No, there's a big fight between you and the fish. But guess what? Come 4 or 5 hours into it, I'm assuming you're going to catch something out there if you keep trying. And yeah, take it home, clean it up. Or you're like, what if I really want to start from scratch? That's like, start your own river, dude. Start your own river. Think about that. Be part of nature. Just go start, like, I don't know, find a little patch of land with a little bit of, like a body of water. Maybe it's like, the body of water is on top of the hill. You start maybe digging, forging a little pathway for the water to travel. You make your own river, give it a couple of years. Water fills that river up. Next thing you know, oh, it's a whole ecosystem. Now you got yourself a whole river of fish. You're like, that's the way I like to do it from just scratch. There's nothing, I don't even like, it's what it is. Or you can like, get your own little pool and fill it up with, fish and make that into your business. You could have a pool of fish or a school of fish. That's what they say. And then you just, oh man, what is that? School of fish, dude. Ladies, fishing rods, fucking reel it in. And then bread, what do? Start your own. That's the thing. Some people are like, oh, go buy bread. Some people are like, no, I wanna hunt my own bread. I wanna go out there and hunt my own loaves. And it's it's seasonal. You gotta get a license for that shit, And some are like, I don't want to see bread being murked out there. I don't want to see bread just taking one to the dome. I want somebody else to do the dirty work for me, and that's fine. I'm the same way. I don't want to see bread go out like that either. Fuck, dude. But that's just like, farming on scale or whatever. So what I'm trying to say is that you could either make it from scratch, and like, what about the cream cheese? Again, you can go buy it at the grocery store, or you can get it straight out the farm. You know what I'm talking about? Get a couple of cows, put them together in a designated area on your land if you've got some, and then make them watch, make it comfortable so that they start mating or something, so that the lactation do they got to be always in mating so that they're like lactating 24/7? How does that work? I'm not a cow expert here, but what I'm trying to tell you is that you put in the work, you get a couple of cows going. I don't know how to, like, do you got to put in romantic music for them? Like, but it's like, their music would probably be different sounds of like moos, you know what I'm saying? Just put put on a flat screen. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're not motivated. Maybe they're like, oh, I'm not feeling so, you know, I'm not horny right now. I don't want to, because you need, it's again, scalable things. You want a lot or you want it fresh. And you got to put them in the mood. That's what it is. So dress up as a cow. Maybe start just fucking moo-mooing on the ground and just like squeeze a little teat right there and just like, oh, what is happening? I don't know. Just think outside the box. Where essentially you want a lot of cows lactating. Get that milk, grab a bucket, some gloves, I'm assuming, a little bit of that, just boil that bad boy up, you know what I mean? And then like, use that to make cheese, and then I don't know how to make cream cheese. Whip it up. I'm assuming there's whipping. You gotta whip up the cheese, baby. You gotta it's a whole thing. So what I'm saying is up to you. You wanna make it from scratch, you can. You wanna make it not from scratch, there's alternative options as well. And I'm just saying, food is delicioso. I'm very grateful for it. Thank you very much. Good God, love that coffee. Wherever you are, boys and girls, in and around this planet, I hope you're having a wonderful day. And things are, man, so many interesting things are happening, so many interesting things to learn about. And a big part of this whole thing for me is, I love learning. I love learning about different things, but there are definitely certain things that I'm very like, oh man, my radar tends to like be more attracted to it. Let's say certain topics, certain genres, certain things. I mean, we all have them. We all have our favorite things. We all have our interests, our, things that we sometimes focus on, things that we may gravitate towards. For me, man, like obviously jokes, telling stories, but a part of that process is learning as well, because you need to just, for me anyway, like, and everybody does it different. I'm not like this, but here's the thing. What I'm trying to say to you guys and gals out there is recently, from my wonderful friend, we were having a conversation. He happened to mention something about, I'll tell you the gist of it and I'll tell you what I've been doing on my own little time. And then here's the thing. We're having a conversation. He's like, have you heard of this thing called Operation Gladio? He goes into it, explains a little bit to me. It was foreign to me as a topic. Got really interested in it. Later on, found a little bit of went down different rabbit holes, let's say. And I've never heard of this thing before, but it was really interesting. So Operation Gladio is, I found a neat book. I'll tell you guys, I found a neat book. It's about, man, from my understanding, again, this is like, if I were to give you the gist of it from my understanding, I'd say it was probably, concentrates on the topic of the CIA, and also talks about or introduces the topic of stay-behinds, which again, terms that I've not been familiar with in the past, getting familiar with them now, learning. Yeah, so the CIA had operatives called stay-behinds, and these were essentially agents or, people who were stay-behinds. You're like, stay behind where? Stay behind in, man, they were like, okay, here's the thing. It's tricky, dude. From my understanding, the gist of it is essentially at one point after World War II, there was a fear of communism coming from the east to the west, okay? And again, I'm learning, right? I'm learning, trying to like learn objectively as much as possible and have fun with it in the process. So yeah, after World War II, there was a fear of communism getting exported to the west. So what we did in the west, what we collectively did in the west, and like the CIA had a big part in this, was that they got a hold of former Nazis, you could say, against, from my understanding. I'm probably butchering a lot of it because there's a lot of information in there, so go do your own research and have fun with it, because it's like, oh man, it's exciting, interesting stuff. So they get these former Nazis to, kind of hold back the potential of communist growth from the east to west, you know what I'm saying? And they did that through cooperation. And here's the thing. Let me just, a lot of hands involved, this is like involving, here's what I'll do for you guys and gals out there so that you can do your own research if you're interested in topics like this. here's the thing. I found this book. It's by Paul L. Williams. It's called Operation Gladio. The book is titled The Unholy Alliance Between the Vatican, the CIA, and the Mafia. Again, the book is called Operation Gladio, The Unholy Alliance Between the Vatican, the CIA, and the Mafia. Very interesting. I'm at page 50 right now. And what I'll do, just to perhaps maybe shine a little light on this little topic, because maybe most of you guys are familiar with this topic, but I wasn't. And I find it really interesting because it, again, involves a lot of hands, involves a lot of different characters, and it's history. And man, it's wild shit, son. Let's read on. I'm on page 50 right now. I'm on page 50, and again, we're talking the Mafia, the CIA, the Vatican, all working together simultaneously to, man, funnel drugs and run amok, essentially. I'm butchering it right now, but here, I'll read you guys an excerpt. This is, and again, you'll notice there will be names that are familiar or might be familiar to you, like Lucky Luciano is one of the cats that's mentioned here several times. And that's like, I know that name through, I guess, popular culture, movies, a little bit of, because I'm a fan of like mafia movies, mafia tales, anything in regards to the criminal underworld, and also, I guess, Law and Order, if you know what I'm talking about, because that's basically two sides of the same coin. And sometimes you're like, where's this side end and where's the other side begin? And you're like, man, wild shit. And not to, again, not to say these things are meant to be used for overgeneralizations of be like, oh, all, because there's like legit, I'm sure, again, as I'm learning, as I'm going along the way of my path, of my journey, I'm learning maybe because that's the thing, to me, if it was up to me, especially if we're like, oh, pushing like transparency, everybody like, be more honest, this, that, access to information, potentially later down the line getting integrated with tech and being able to, get rid of all the space between us and just like convey information, if that makes any sense. I kind of like the idea of not having secretive organizations, because that way, it's weird, because you have organizations in society like the Vatican, for example, which is its own entity, and I'm learning, this is incredible stuff. They're completely sovereign, like nobody can like go inside the Vatican, or the Holy See, as they call it sometimes. I don't know why, but they call it the Holy See. It's like in Rome, but it's its own like city or like country, nation, state, sovereign state. Weird, man. They do their own thing. And like the Pope, get this, the Pope, I know this, has his own bank, the Vatican Bank, and apparently, from my understanding, he's the head of this bank, and nobody at the end of the day can get access to the bank, dude. So there's all this money like coming and going. It's wild. I love it. It's interesting stuff to read about and find out. And you're like, man, I had no idea the Vatican was in bed with the Mafia, who was in bed with the CIA, and all these guys were basically in bed having an orgy together. And are they still having orgies together? Most likely, dude, you and I, probably not invited. Fun to read about. This does not mention anything about the orgies. I'm assuming just through, picking up info throughout the years. I'm assuming there's some orgies going on somewhere. Doing it, mask on, mask off. Who knows? Ceremonies, no ceremonies. Aside the point, let's get to the bottom of this for a second here, just so you guys have an understanding. Just so I learn a little bit more. And man, I get excited about this shit because it's like, again, it's shit that you might see in movies, and we've seen depictions of, actual life events, being depicted in movies, and it's fascinating. And this stuff is like, that's the thing, man. You read a little bit into like historical facts, you could, man, wild shit. Here, let me read an excerpt, and then this is on page 51, just because that's where I am right now. Here, I'll read you one paragraph. The Turkish route. Production was one problem, supply was another. The new heroin network needed the services of a narcotics broker. The leading opium broker within the Anatolian plains of Turkey was Sami el-Khoury. Sami el-Khoury. Okay, so this guy's a broker of opium. A slick Syrian opium merchant who had become the leading supplier of opium paste to the Middle East. Lucky Luciano met with el-Khoury, all right, as soon as the strike was settled and forged a business relationship that would immediately begin following millions of kilos of raw opium from Turkey into Beirut, where it was manufactured into morphine base. El-Khoury secured the route by paying off Lebanese police and custom agents with Luciano's cash. From Lebanon, the base was transported to the new laboratories in Marseille. From the French port, the heroin was shipped on freighters to Cuba under CIA protection. Throughout his career, El-Khoury, slick Syrian opium merchant, remained under the care and protection of the CIA. He was collared several times during major drug busts, some involving more than 600 pounds of heroin, but served less than 4 months in prison. In 1998, Dennis Dale, former chief of an elite DEA unit, confided that El-Khoury had been an employee of the agency. In quote, "In my 30-year career in Drug Enforcement Administration and related agencies," Dale said, "the major targets of my investigations almost invariably turned out to be working for the CIA," end quote. That was just a paragraph from page 51. How wild is that, ladies and gents? That is, man. And like, yeah, I don't understand too much of these things, but I like to, I like picking up random facts. That's how I'm attracted to different things, and that is, stories like that just get my juices going. Man, oh man, like, wild shit, dude. Wild shit. Again, the Vatican, the Mafia, the CIA, former Nazis, fighting off communism. At one point, it was a mention of how the Sicilian government essentially was funded by the CIA, and they essentially backed the mafioso to get into office. Wild shit. It's crazy shit that I'm just learning a little bit. It is fascinating stuff. So this stuff says, like, what do we have? We have bagels, we have salmon from scratch. That's the way I make it. I don't know, did I say I go to the grocery store? That's not the way I go to the grocery store. I am floating in a river, in nude, with a spear in hand, deep murky waters in the river. I'm hunting my own salmon and bread, dude. Those bread don't see me coming, because that's the thing. And you think you're out there, you think you just like go out there all willy-nilly. If it comes down into just going like hunt bread, dude, they can smell you a mile away. You gotta get breadcrumbs and just like rub it all over yourself. And that's what I do for about 45 minutes to an hour prior to going out and hunting for bread, dude. I'm just fucking, it's Crumb City, pits, nads, everywhere. I'll leave a little bit behind my ear just so if I'm running low, I'll just sprinkle breadcrumbs. What's up, dude? Loaves don't see a comment. Next thing you know, fucking fresh loaf of bread on the kitchen table. That's the way I do it, you know what I'm saying? Because anybody can just go to the grocery store, dude. That's all right. I go to the grocery store, fine. You're like, no way you do that. Yeah, if I had to, I'd hunt my own loaf of bread, dude. You don't know me. You're like, they're fast. I'm faster. They're like, you're like they're made of yeast. I'm made of yeast, dude. I'm made of yeast. You don't know me? I'll get a yeast infection if need be, dude. That's the length I will go to. Anyway, anywhere, anytime, anyone, any place, anywho. Moving forward, things that are excessive. This is what we do around here. We talk about everything and nothing. Matt, El-Khoury, like that's like, that should be like, oh, that could be like in a movie. We could make like, oh man, fucking El-Khoury, dude, slick Syrian fella who's an opium merchant working with the CIA, working with the Mafia, working with the Vatican. El-Khoury, fucking, I could see him now, slick Syrian fella with opium on him. Maybe off him. I don't know if he open carries opium, dude, but that he's slick though. He might do it and he might not even know. What is it? Slick. Just the slick opium dealer, dude. That's what it is. Slick opium merchant. Because you can't not be outside. How does it even go down, dude? Like that's somebody's life, dude. That's somebody's life was legit. Like there's like the cats that you'll hear, there's like El Chapo, but there's also fucking El Khoury, slick Syrian opium merchant, dude, fucking slick. Oh man, I could just fucking. He's wearing a suit. He's wearing a suit. It's a shade of olive, you know, industrial gray or olive. You know what I'm talking about, with a little bit of maybe a 5 o'clock shadow, maybe with his hair slicked back. I don't know. Oh man, have you seen this fella? Opium merchants. Oh, slick too. Fucking slippery, dude. Now you see him, now you don't. He's here 1 minute, out the door the next second. Good God, this guy's fast. Fucking merchant of opium. Like, that's somebody's. That's the thing. Again, sides of the same coin, of the good and the bad, right? Because like, what are, you know? I'm not defending opium merchants here, dude. But at the end of the day, it's like all this money and things that get spent on budgets, like fighting the war on drugs, and like at the end of the day, from like every age category, we're all like humans, and everybody uses something at some point for whatever purpose. And I'm not even gonna get into that aspect, but it's just like, yeah, it's funny to me to see that there's like large business like going on all the time, and then sometimes we get caught up on like, oh, we gotta, for example, have a fight on drugs or a war on drugs, and it's like, oh, if we can just get everything like regulated, purified, and like, you know. But that's, you know, so it's interesting shit, man. El Khoury, the fucking slick Syrian, I could get into that, dude. I could definitely see that. Oh man, El Khoury. I'm El Khoury. I'm a slick Syrian opium merchant. Hello, would you like some opium? Were you? No, I shouldn't probably be so obvious about it. Maybe. But then again, if he knows he's covered, dude. If I know I'm covered by the CIA, dude, I'm fucking El Khoury, dude. Fucking El motherfucking Khoury, slick Syrian fucking opium merchant. Doing it. What you want? Oh my God. He should have like sayings and like catchphrases. Hi, I'm El Khoury. I'm El Khoury. There it is. A little bit, just a little, maybe a little bit of a teeny tiny accent with, you know, I'm El Khoury. Fucking, and just again, gray suits, olive suits, maybe like a low V-neck. You know what I'm saying? Good chest hair, dude. Positive chest hair attitude. Like nice curls. You could see like mid 30s, mid 40s. You know, if he shaved that 5 o'clock shadow, he could pass for like late 20s, no big deal. And yeah, he's just fucking swinging cases or like suitcases. But if you're like, no, he's probably like if he's like dealing with the CIA and like the mafia and shit, and like dealing with like Lucky Luciano, dude, these are big names. And that's what it is. Fucking slick Syrian opium merchant. You don't hear about it, but now you did. Or maybe you have already. But that's the thing, man. We could make a thing out of this together, and you could be El Khoury. Maybe you're El Khoury out there right now. Would you? No, he wouldn't be alive by now, would he? Just of age? I don't know. I gotta go read into it again in more depth. But that's what it is, man. There's so much. So I'm thankful for salmon. You know, fucking rivers and shit, nature, and from making things from scratch, and also like fun facts that you learn about every day. Good God, so many things going on in and around this planet right now. What other interesting things things that I don't get to. Some things draw my attention a lot to them. Some things I'm just like curious about, just because I want to know more. So you'll read things like North Korea's like testing missiles and like launching missiles. I was just like Googling it for a second. I'm like, how many missiles has North Korea launched or tested this year? And it's like, I don't know, I got mixed reviews, 40 to 60, and then different types of missiles and what have you, different types of rockets. I don't know the deets. I'm not a rocket expert. I'm not a rocket man. I like to fly, I'll tell you that. You know, and that's what we do around here, baby. Flap, flap. Let's go. Up in the sky. Where we at? Up in the sky. That's where we're at, baby. Point is that I'm curious because it's like, it says, you'll read it in the news. It says it'll, you know, there's been tests, launching of rock, and I've always wondered, even if it's like a test, quote unquote, whatever that means, right? Quote unquote test. I don't like, you know, like you test once, you know what it is. Maybe it's working. So like the rest are just like, oh, the test is getting closer and closer. Or it may appear. Again, I have no idea. Just like reading it, just objectively. My concern is even if it's like not like meant for anything, but again, not knowing anything about anything, talking out of my ass here. I'm just curious about, like, you know how like there's, okay, if we test these rockets collectively as a whole, how many of these rockets can we have like tested? Because like they go up, they eventually have to come down, and I'm assuming they land in the sea or the ocean. Some have, you know, and that's what it is. They land in the ocean. Or do these? How much? My question is, I'm concerned with this. You know how every now and again we'll have like natural disasters and stuff, and some are like legit natural disasters, but I'm just, is there a correlation about like rockets being launched and then like being smashed into the water, and would that have large ripple effects and cause, in cases, maybe tsunamis or anything like that? Is that plausible, or no? Maybe I'm, because I couldn't find out on the internet, and I'm hoping you guys and gals can just like maybe somehow, you know, look into it if you can, if somebody, because like how many of these, and like how, because that's the thing, like, you know, you shoot a bullet into the water, probably no big deal, but as the bullet gets bigger and bigger, bigger ripple effect, and at one point it's like, oh man, and we might not even see it. That's the thing, I don't even know, will it do anything, or is it just a big cushion, no big deal, and it's like, oh, it's just like shooting into, you know, it's as if you took a little, you know, maybe you're doing a little bit of target practice in the old farm, and that's basically like shooting into a stack of hay. I don't even know, dude. I'm not an expert on rockets by any stretch of the imagination. All I can tell you is phallic shaped. That's all I can point at and be like, it's phallic. If you're like, oh, well, what does a rocket look like? Phallic shaped. You know, fucking, it is what it is, right? That's what it is, and that's what I can tell you. Facts. But yeah, I've been interested in that just while, like, you know, and also other uses, because I'm like curious about other potential, because we have a large stockpile of nukes here on planet Earth, thousands of nuke heads. I'm just wondering if there is alternative methods of using these in turn, because here's the thing, I read another article concentrating on the fact that we are constantly, like, we were in space, right? Constantly we have asteroids, comets coming at us. Some of them, they're little tiny ones, sometimes like get passed through and even hit Earth, no big deal. It does happen more frequently than people think, actually. Again, it's small scale, so it's no big deal, but like larger scale ones do fly by us, not like, you know, whatever. It's still a distance away, we're safe for now. All that being said, there is one that's been spotted recently that's like a kilometer in diameter, just space rock, just a space rock, and it got me to think, I'm like, oh shit, like, you know, and we're not in danger now and everything, but like the space rocks that hit planet Earth that potentially took out the dinosaurs, how big were they? Because I'm like, if this one's like 1 kilometer in diameter, well shit, if it's no big deal for it to, you know, or maybe it is, I don't even know. Then I got to thinking, I'm like, how big does a space rock have to be to actually make a dent on planet Earth? And apparently, like, not, you know, it could take out if it's like 0.5 kilometer in diameter, space rock, which is not that big, could potentially take out a little city, or a city, I don't even know. This is just my basic understanding of nothing. So that being said, but I was curious, I'm like, oh shit, how big was the rock that hit planet Earth at the time that the dinosaurs went bye-bye? You know what I'm talking about? It was apparently, if I'm not mistaken, again, according to what I found, it may be different from other sources, I don't know, 10 kilometers in diameter, so fairly large. 10 kilometers in diameter, it's, you know, that's a large space rock. So if that's coming at you, I think that'll definitely like point to some sort of species extinction. But at the same rate, I'm like, okay, potentially we should be like, you know, it's great that we have these techs, right? Because that's what we're, tech savvy creatures out there, little fucking monkeys with better tools. That's what we are, baby, fucking rocking and roll. But it's time to collect these tools that we have, and like, you know, start like talking about how to utilize them properly, and, you know, how not to use them ever, you know what I'm talking about? Because like, that's, you know, low-key on everybody's minds, kind of. It's there, but it's not there, you know. It's more of a conversation these days than ever. But I was thinking, I'm like, I'm glad that we've got these beautiful telescopes that can take cool photos of the space and show us the galaxies and the Milky Way and the stars and all the little particles that are like going up and down. I was like, oh, these are the pillars of whatevs, right? And you're like, man, that just kind of like low-key looks like, you know, galaxy patterned granite on a kitchen countertop. But, you know, I'm taking your word for it. You're saying it's magnificent, and I do believe there's some legit photos out there of like nice space photos out there, you know, not to say that they're granite or anything like that, although they do resemble granite. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. If there's anything that resembles a photo taken from space, like, check out Google black granite or galaxy pattern granite, it's like legit, you're looking into space. So that's also fun. So if you, maybe you have a friend, maybe you yourself are a lovely family and your countertop is fucking galaxy granite, dude. So you could be like legit having dinner or like breakfast or lunch and looking into space. Quit spacing out, man. Stay with us. Stay with us. We're moving fast. I know. We're moving fast, baby boys and girls. But I'm just thinking, we've got these potential nuke heads. We do have them. But should we like not be like, how good are we at, my thing is, how good are we at like potentially these rocks are getting closer? How good are we at like reacting to these floaters? How, that's what I like to call them, dude. They call them potentially, man, what was it called? Potentially hazardous asteroids? PHAs, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, potentially hazardous big fucking rock coming at us. Not right now, but like, you know, maybe in a couple of 100 years, it'll get closer and what have you, and not our concern right now, but you never know. And that's the thing, what if we get like caught by surprise? You know how space be fucking massive? What if all of a sudden we get caught, like we're just like, yeah, it's all gooch now, but like what if fucking a giant one fucking flew by really close and like caught us off guard? Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it can't happen. Or maybe like, maybe there's scientists right there, they're like, no, it can't happen, and I'm sure it can happen. Like it won't happen now, definitely won't happen like today or tomorrow or even next week or even like, you know, hundreds of years from now. Most likely it won't happen, but we should like be able to like, should one, you know, 1 in a million chance, if one fucking comes buzzing by 20 kilometers in diameter, double the sizes of the previous rocks that took out them dinosaurs, that's potentially one of the things that like we got to think about. Because it's like, oh, because if we keep growing at this rate, we're gonna be fucking amazeballs in 1,000 years. Think of humanity in like 1,000 or 5,000 years. But again, things that we got to look out for, us, you know, shooting ourselves in the foot, which can be definitely mitigated. We can definitely avoid that. And but other things being external, like fucking 20-kilometer wide asteroids, or you know what I'm talking about? We should be able to. So here's the thing, there is a project, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure if this is NASA or some other space agency that's done this, but there was a mission, if I'm not mistaken, I'm really happy to hear this. It's called the DART, which I fucking love that shit, dude, because I think like that's amazing. So we send out these little fucking little satellites or little rockets, and they cling on to rocks and debris, and they can like, you know, make a little pew explosion and then just like deter the little rock. And I'm just wondering, like, could we, if we had to react fast, how fast could we react to? You're like, why don't you just Google it? I did as much Googling as I can. And to be honest with you, I'd like more people to potentially, and it's just a great way to be like, oh, what do we do with the stockpile? Fucking like, you know, fireworks up in the sky, need be, ever. You know, and we probably should stop making nukes, no? Like, I think from what I read, again, I think we have like somewhere between 3,000 to 4,000 active nuclear warheads. I don't know if that's just for like, I don't know if that's just US based stats. I don't know if that's global, but overall, sum total of nukes, we got a good stockpile, and we should just be like, oh man, we should have it on the ready in case, like, you know, space debris of sorts. But that's unlikely. So that's like, we have, good news is we have a ton of that in case. I think it's just a matter of like, I'm just concerned with the matter of aiming and attaching and potentially like, you know, deterring or destroying the large space debris. And this is something that I'm interested in, and that's what it is, baby. It's exciting. And yeah, because like space, everybody like, that's what it is, baby. Once everything is like a little bit, in no time, we're gonna have to get like, we're gonna start to have to like colonize space eventually, and that's something I'm interested in as well. Me not personally like doing it, but I'll recruit, dude, in terms of for people who are interested, yeah, because I'm interested in space, but I don't want to be amongst the first peepsies to go up there, to be honest with you. I'd like to be able to get my, you know, human comforts in before I can go up there. Like if we're going, that's the thing, I did make a list of things that I would want either you or me to be comfortable with doing up there, and I'll maybe review some of them with you guys and gals out there, maybe, because we got to sort some things out and figure out amongst us who is going to be able to go out there and fucking colonize. So let's just have a sip of this for a second, and then I want to get into your psyche, if I may, and find out what you made of there, tiger, lady, guy. All right. I want to know You're like, yeah, because like I want to know. Let's get right into it. How, what's your, how would you rate yourself on your colonizing skills if you were to, and that's the thing, humanity needs people that, like, I need to know what will you bring to the table? What are your colonizing abilities? Will you be able to, are you down with, like, would you be able to go down and just like fucking, we need, because we need people, we need essentially, because they don't talk about this. I need more, like, we need to, job description essentially. You might not have a lot of volunteers or people, like, not even volunteers, you need workers essentially in that sector of society as well. So this is what we're doing. We're just going to narrow it down, just break it down, some skills that one might need if they're interested in pursuing that sort of adventure, that sort of lifestyle. So, colonizing skills. Are you like are you comfortable with just like pouncing on things and like just getting it, like, just claiming it? We need that. We need that as a species. We need to put that out there, and we'll deal with other situations that may arise down the line. But first of all, I just need to like figure out what kind of, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your colonizing skills? If need be, I'm asking you to go out there in space and fucking colonize. I don't need you to be like, oh, I'm at a 1.5 colonizing level. Like, I need 10s. I need 9.5 at least. Fucking up there. Just like ready to plant shit, ready to fucking draw grids, ready to fucking like claim it. Team humanity right there, dude. That's the kind of energy I'm looking for, at least. Because I'm not going there, but I need somebody that's like willing to fucking, a big hug, dude. You need to just go there and just like start, like, are you willing to like whip out your wiener in space and mark our territory? Because somebody needs to at one point, dude. I know we've taken that one big step for mankind and all that jazz, but somebody needs to whip out their wiener, or a lady needs to just squat for a second and just pour some DNA on that soil and be like, what up, planet Earth represent, so that next time more people go over, like, oh, like, yeah, it's the little things. It's the little thing. You're like, man, that doesn't even matter. It's the little things. 2 million years from now, from that spot that somebody urinated on, will sprout out a whole civilization. Just give us some time. But I need somebody with the right mindset. I can't have people like, has that, and then we'll go through the questionnaire that I prepared in my mind. Other things that, I'm looking for potentially, if I was in charge of the space station unit, NASA space program, airspace program agency, if I were the spaceman doing it, I'd ask you questions. Are you comfortable sharing small spaces with people? They're just the basics. Are you comfortable sharing small spaces with people? I'm talking a tin can, nothing schmance. Tin can, small space, confined. Are you a smoker? And you're like, no, I don't smoke. Great, I'm glad to hear that. But others may be preferring to have a smoke up there. We're all the way up in space, 6 months down the line, you get a little bit homesick, whip out a cigarette. You're gonna have to be okay with that, all right? We got vents, we got the tech, dude. If my astronauts can't have a ciggy up there, is it even worth going up into space? That's all I'm saying, fam. So I need you to be either a smoker or be okay with, I can't have somebody like, oh, my asthma. If you got asthma, you're not going. You're not amongst the first batch of people that were sent out in space. I'm just putting out on the line. No people with like underlying issues, all right? You gotta be, I don't care what you have, but like it can't be an issue. You can have it, but it can't be an issue. You can be diabetic, but I don't wanna hear about it because we're up in space. You can be like asthmatic, but I don't wanna see the puffer up there. It'll just like, for everybody's nerves, I need everybody to calm down. No puffer in space, okay? But that's just, I have to draw the line somewhere, and it's been drawn. But that's, and that's why I'm head of the space agency, man. That's what it is. So other things that, uncomfortable questions that you might not want to answer or even think about, but potentially you're out there, Thursday afternoon, middle of space, you're set in a, orgy breaks out, oh, we're in space orgy, are you down? You got to answer these questions, because honestly, I think they go up at like 6, 7, maybe 6 to 10 at a time, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, that you got to have to do what you're going to have to do. And if you're not going to do, again, like the smoking thing, maybe you're not a smoker, but are you okay with at least observing? Because some may or may not have to, at one point or another. I'm just saying, realistically, think about it. Wi-Fi's down. You don't have access to Pornhub up there. I'm just saying. Maybe you're like, they should have thought ahead. Take videotapes. Maybe that's what they do. But I'm like, I want the best of the best. I don't want any, like I said, we're a team. And not me again. I'm just asking for people to get the mind ready. Get the body ready spiritually. Because these are like new frontiers. And you're like, this will never happen. You think at one point, once we get better at this shit, it's like, they're having space sex, dude. Where are the tapes, fam? I want to see them tapes, dude. Forget looking out into space with them grainy ass pictures. Let's get a little bit of video upstairs, if you know what I mean. That'll definitely bring in more fucking applicants, dude. That's what I'm saying. That's probably we need to see a little bit more skin, essentially, in the space program. It's a little bit too much of a covered up, but like, okay, I get it. Fine. You need to be covered up. I get it. But like, again, questions that you might want to have to deal with. Are you okay with urinating in your bodysuit? And you definitely have to, because that's the way we do it, is what I've heard. Are you okay with also purifying that urine and then drinking it? Or maybe even offering it, because that's what it is. Sharing is caring up there, and let's say I've peed, but I've not yet been able to purify my pee. Would you be kind enough to offer your pee? And you're like, it's purified water, you don't have to refer to it as my former pee. I just want to remind everybody where we're at right now, okay? Former pee, current water, sip, are we sharing? Are you that? Because that's what it is. I need to know if you're able to, be a team player, but also take initiative when need be. When we're out there, if we got a loose one, if we got a floater, shit happens. Somebody forgot to close the bathroom door, and that's what we call them, floaters. Are you a team player to quickly nip it in the butt, scoop it? Because that's the thing. We can't have everybody be like, oh, that's not my floater. You know what I mean? In space, once someone poops, if the fucking bathroom door is open, it's out there, dude. What are you going to do? You're going to be like, oh, Mikey, get yours. It's like, no, dude, you get it. You're right there. You get it. You clean it up, because that's the thing. If you don't, smears all over the thing. These are things that you don't think about. Smears all over the dash, dude. Do you want smeared poo all over the dash? You could have just, I know, you got that nice Michelin Man suit, and you're like, I don't want doo-doo on my nice Michelin Man hand. And I get it. My heart goes out. You wish that Mikey would close the door. He forgot. He's a nice guy. Honestly, it's been like 8.5 months. Can anybody get blamed for anything up there? So that's what I'm saying. Team players. Play out. You feel me? I need you to be a collector. Okay? I need you to be a, just out there with an attitude of, yes, we're going to do it. That kind of mentality. Oh, boy. I get excited about these things. You know what I mean? So it's stuff that I think about. And I don't want to see anybody just coming in there and be like, yeah, I'm not going to be, not a team player. Be a team player is essentially what I'm trying to get to. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you with all my heart. Thank you for all the love and support. And that's what we do around here, baby. We tickle each other's membranes from afar, from a near. We come in here Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Where can you get these fine videos? Where can you get these high quality, insanely beautiful, wonderful? Because we're a community, we're a syndicate, we're a gang. Where can you find these, gang? You can find it on, you can find them on Instagram. That's where you can find them. You can find them on Instagram. You can follow me there. And you can also find them on YouTube for the full-length videos, because that's the way we roll for the time being. So subscribe on YouTube, okay? Go check out patreon.com/RobSadri. And that's what it is, baby. We're growing one day at a time. We are stumbling upon new frontiers together and then it's gonna be a bumpy ride. I've never said it's not gonna be bumpy, so that's why we say buckle up, buckle down. Or like, you know what, I like to go hands-free, baby, because roller coasters are what? Best experienced hands-free, with vomit coming in your face, dude, from the guy in front of you. That's the experience. And not getting grossed out, but also contributing. So now you consume vomit, now you gotta upchuck some vomit of yourself and pass it. It's like paying it forward, but with like vomit. And imagine the beautiful picture taken there in slow-mo. Wouldn't that be a wonderful memory to show the grandkids one? They'd be like, yeah, that was in 2026, man. Lady, think about that. Just like, oh, blouse just lifted, or just like one tit hanging out, a little vomit in the back. Fucking gorgeous picture, dude, for the memories. That's what we're here doing, making memories. So again, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. I love you all. Thank you for all the love and support. I'll be back here again on Friday. Rock and roll. Have fun wherever you are. Peace out.